Hey y'all, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who may or may not already know, my name is Alex, aka YELLOOBERRY.
I'm like, damn, you so fine, girl, what is your sign? She say I'm a Sagittarius, I'm a Capricorn, the beginning and end. I got a friend for your friend, hey, I'm making all of this money to spend. Deal stores buying.
Wait, I don't bite. Before we get into this video, I do want to give you guys a little backstory about my experience when it comes to breastfeeding. Every woman is not the same. Every baby is not the same. Not every experience will be the same. However, some of us may have some similarities. A lot of us will have a lot of differences. But again, I just want to share my personal information when it comes to breastfeeding, just so that you can kind of see where you can kind of align yourself with what I'm saying. So yeah, I am a breastfeeding mom. My daughter will be 6 months at the end of this month. I do like to say that I predominantly breastfeed. However, only if I'm like away from her that I give her a bottle. I did have an all natural birth. Make sure you check out that video up above. I had no intervention. I didn't get any medication, not even ibuprofen for pain afterward. Also, prior to breastfeeding, I did take a breastfeeding class 1 and I took a birthing class 2. When I tell you guys that these 2 classes helped aid me in my breastfeeding journey, I know a lot of us women, we do not feel the need to take these classes. A lot of us don't even know that these classes exist, but they do, and I strongly encourage every new mom, every new parent, period, to take these classes. They are extremely informative and they will tell you things that you do not know, especially if you're a first-time mom. What else do I have to tell y'all? I feel like that's about it. So let's get into the myths about breastfeeding. The first myth is that you have to supplement with formula. That is a myth. Your body produces enough milk for your baby unless there are some factors that influence otherwise. Say for instance, you had to undergo surgery right afterward and your baby was in the NICU after you gave birth. You'll know why you have to supplement with formula in the event that you have to supplement with formula. But if you've had everything is pretty normal and everything is pretty fine, you do not and you should not be supplementing with formula if breastfeeding is what you want to do. Again, actually, this is not again. Disclaimer, I'm a breastfeeding mom, but I'm not gonna shove breastfeeding down people's throats. However, if you want to learn more about breastfeeding, this is what this video is about. It's not to shove breastfeeding down your throat. It's not to shame anybody who's formula feeding. It's not to belittle anybody. Again, it is just for extra information. So please, this is just a informational purpose video. So I know a lot of people, they write me on Instagram and they're just like, you know, I don't feel like my baby is getting enough milk. And I'm just like, why do you feel that way? So what I learned in my lactation classes were that, you know, the baby's belly is maybe this big. Like, it's not a big belly, and the baby's belly gets this big around like day 5. And even so, they don't necessarily need 4 ounces of milk just yet. So initially when your body produces milk, it's actually called colostrum, which is like a sticky, thick substance that coats the bottom of the baby's stomach. And then about between 3 and 5 days, that's when your milk production actually comes through. And that's when your body is trying to be able to figure out how much milk your baby needs. And 9 times out of 10, if your baby's a month old, they don't really need 4 ounces of milk. Again, to each their own. Everybody's baby is different. Everybody's body is different. But again, y'all, by day 5, baby's belly is about this big. So it's kind of like, doesn't need 4 ounces of milk. So your body is definitely producing as much milk as the baby needs. And the more that you bring your baby to your breast, the more that your baby feeds off of your breast, is the more that your body and your breast and your milk is going to be able to regulate to say, okay, I know baby John drinks about 2 ounces of milk every 2 hours. So your body's going to produce that. So now if you're supplementing with formula, you're taking away from feedings. So your body's gonna think, okay, the last time I saw little John was at 9 a.m. and it's 5 p.m. now. Oh, John only needs about 0.5 ounces of milk because I haven't seen him since 9 a.m. So that's why they say also, if you are breastfeeding, predominantly breastfeed, especially for the first 6 weeks, because your body is it's new for your body as well. It's new for your baby. It's a learning experience for the both of you. But you can give your baby both, but do your research and know exactly what you're doing, because if you are gonna formula feed, but you wanna keep up your breast milk, make sure that you're pumping during the time that you're giving that formula. So it requires a lot of research, but it's like once you get it, you get it. Like, the second myth is that breastfeeding hurts. In the beginning, it may hurt because it's new, but breastfeeding does not hurt. If it's hurting and it's becoming unbearable, it's probably because the baby isn't latching correctly. It's probably because your boob isn't in the baby's mouth correctly. So basically, if you guys lift up your mouth or open your mouth, you feel those ridges at the top. Your nipple is supposed to be past that. It's supposed to be, so you feel those ridges, and then that soft part back behind the ridges is where your nipple is supposed to be. So if the baby is stopping right here, your nipple is stopping right there, it's going to hurt because it's literally grinding. Oh my gosh, I don't even think about it, but it's literally grinding on the nipple, which is going to cause friction. It's going to hurt. Let me run this back. Initially, breastfeeding will hurt, but it should not hurt you for more than a week. Again, your body's getting used to being wet all the time from saliva and milk, and somebody sucking it. It's gonna get irritated a little bit. Your body's getting used to it. However, if it's hurting you past a week, you need to go seek a lactation consultant, because again, something's going on. Something is wrong, either on your end, the baby's end, a combination of the two. And don't be discouraged by that. Again, it's new, it's a new baby. The baby has an innate ability to suck, but they've never sucked a breast before. So, you have to give it time. You have to learn each other. Breastfeeding comes easier for some people than it does other people. Don't be discouraged. Speak to a lactation consultant. Google a lactation consultant. Ask your doctor to point you in the direction of a lactation consultant. But breastfeeding does not hurt. Number 3 myth about breastfeeding is that people tend to say that breastfeeding isn't natural. That is like one big myth. However, there are some things that may interfere with the initial latch. For instance, if you gave birth in a hospital and you had intervention done, whether it was a C-section or some type of drugs, something called epidural and things of that nature. Those things do have a effect on your baby. The same way the 9 months of pregnancy, if whatever you eat is gonna go to your baby, is the same way that if you go in a hospital and you're under heavy drugs, is gonna go through your bloodstream and somehow, some way it's gonna affect your baby. I'm not saying that like the drug is going to harm the baby and oh my gosh, but again, guys, you have to do your research. Those things do have an effect on the baby, so the baby can come out a little drowsy. The baby could come out, the sucking reflexes aren't as sharp as they would have been had you not had an epidural or whatever other kind of intervention that might interfere with the baby. So take into account that those things do take a lot on the baby, and the baby might come out, it doesn't want to initially latch. It'd rather just take a bottle of milk, because guess what? When you turn the bottle upside down, the milk just drips out. So then you guys get used to doing that. So again, breastfeeding itself is natural. However, we don't live in a perfect world, okay? There are things that can hinder that. There are things that can make that initial latch or that initial process feel like you were scammed. Like, damn, they said breastfeeding was this miraculous thing when you first give birth, and my baby don't even want to lick at my breast, But it is a natural thing. Don't be discouraged. Just get the help you need. The next myth is that breastfeeding is easy. The experience varies from mom to mom. It varies from baby to baby. Again, it is a new process for the both of you, okay? You've probably never breastfed before, or maybe you have, but guess what? This is a new baby. This baby might not be like your last baby, or this is your first baby. Either way, every baby, every mom is different. Every situation varies. Although a lot of people just say like, yeah, I gave birth and my baby automatically latched on, which is something that did happen for me. Like as soon as I gave birth to Gianna and they put her on my chest, she just knew what to do. But again, everybody's situation is different. Intervention can be the reason why your baby is not latching. Your baby just might not know that the boob goes all the way in the back of the mouth, the same way you might not know that. So again, breastfeeding can be easy, but it can also not be easy. And even when it seems like it's easy, it ain't that easy until you get the hang of it. So again, don't be discouraged. Get the help that you need if you need help. And lastly, a lot of people believe that you should not breastfeed when you are sick. That is absolutely false. That is actually when you should be breastfeeding. What happens is when you're sick, your body is able to pass antibodies through your milk to help your baby build up a defense in their immune system. So I'm not saying this to say like, oh, if you're sick, your baby's just not gonna get sick. But the chances of your baby catching the same thing that you have is kind of slim at this point, because again, your body is sending the antibodies to fight off whatever it is from your baby. And if you don't want to breastfeed, then you should at least be giving your baby your breast milk, again, so that those antibodies can pass through from you into your milk and into your baby. So that'll be it for my myths of breastfeeding. I hope you learned a thing or two. Please do not hesitate to comment down below. If you want to ask me a personal question, please do not hesitate to DM me. I always answer my DMs and I don't mind, okay? If I didn't speak on something that, you know, you were curious about, again, do not hesitate to comment down below and do not hesitate to DM me. I love you all and I will see you in the next one. Bye.